Wall Street is Washington, and Washington is Wall Street. Look who the heads of the U.S. Treasury have been over the last couple of presidents. Robert Rubin, Goldman Sachs, then moving over to Citigroup. And then you had Henry Paulson, the Treasury Secretary under Bush that devised the whole TARP program. Where did he come from? Oh, CEO of Goldman Sachs. We had to bail out Goldman Sachs for making a bad bet of $13 billion with AIG. Who is the chief of staff for President Obama? Where does he come from? Oh, that's Bill Daley. Wasn't he the vice chairman of J.P. Morgan Chase? It's the same club. It's just a different division. This is really, again, we're not Monday morning quarterbacks on this. I wrote a book in 1990, it came out in 1997, Trends 2000, and I was predicting what the future would look like. It's right there. It's all you get anywhere. When we had revolutions taking place on Wall Street, and we said they were from all different generations. It wasn't a 60s sound. And the reason we said it was very simple. The gap between the rich and the poor. That's all this is about. Whether it's Tunisia, whether it's Egypt, whether it's Bahrain, whether it's Greece, whether it's Spain, whether it's Italy, whether it's the UK, when the money stops flowing down to the man on the street, the blood starts flowing in the streets. It's summed up in 4 simple words. Too big to fail. We just heard Herman Cain, you know, that 999 guy, chastising the Wall Street protesters as saying they were anti-capitalists. No, sorry, Mr. Cain, you have it backwards. Bailing out the too big to fails, the rich bankers, the Federal Reserve dumping trillions of dollars worldwide. That's anti-capitalist. So yes, and when you look at the data, you know, Mitt Romney repeated some of it, and you know, he's just jumping. Yeah, listen to his answer. It was a no answer from the answer he gave the last time. He's pinning it on Obama. And by the way, I'm a political atheist. I don't believe in anybody's political fairy tales or religions. So, you know, having said that, Obama is responsible, but Bush was before that, Clinton was before that. You know, so this thing is very, very interwoven. But to hear Romney, you know, trying to come out as though, you know, this is all we have to do is straighten things out a little bit. It's been a takeover. It's one big corporate takeover. Name the industry, there's a handful of people running it. Agriculture, communications. You go down the list, whether it's retail, whether it's the military. So yes, Wall Street is Washington. Washington is Wall Street. And the number Romney threw out, a 10% decline in median household income since the recession began. While you look at the other data for the top 1%, they're raking in the dough. Well, not in Europe anymore either. They're going under as well. But he's just right about the inequality. And you could follow the money. We used to be the most egalitarian nation on earth until the Republicans and Democrats started deregulating the laws that made us that. The Robinson-Patman Act, the Sherman Antitrust Act, Glass-Steagall Act, that put all the play in the power of the bigs. You want to start a business, promise you're going to create several hundred jobs, they'll give you tax breaks, loan guarantees, you name it, infrastructure. But if you're an entrepreneur and want to start a business, boy, they got the state agencies, the local agencies, they have everybody down on your back getting licenses and making sure you abide by the letter of the law. And this other guy like Santorum, these are the people that come out with, well, what we have to do is deregulate big business and give them a free hand. How about deregulating me? How about deregulating the average person out there? No, they have this thing. These are the people. He was in the Senate. Look at the great job that's going on over there in Pennsylvania, Rick. The state capital over there is filing for bankruptcy. Why would anybody listen to these people? If the election were held today and the front runners are Perry, Romney, or Cain, we say Obama wins. Because when you listen to the programs coming from the Republicans, it's almost as though they have an infiltrator from the Democratic Party that's giving them the lines. Like, we got to cut back on entitlements. You know, Social Security is running rampant, and we have to rein it in. Medicare's out of control. You're telling people this as they're losing their homes, don't have any jobs, can't afford health care? While Obama, he plays the teleprompted president and becomes the born-again populist and blames it on Congress and those people with them corporate jets out there. So he's going to play the phony role of being the warrior for the working class. And being that when you watch these debates, it's the presidential reality show, and he's the best performer. All these guys do is deals. It's not like they're, what are they contributing to society? They're just doing deals so they can make more money. That's not productivity. That's being a money junkie. They can't get enough. When I was a kid growing up, my parents, may they rest in peace, were Depression-era people. And they used to say when they had enough, how many steaks could one person eat? These people want to control more and more. When is $1 billion enough? Look at the disconnect, Liz. You hear Bloomberg, the billionaire mayor of New York, chastising the protesters, saying they're going after the wrong people, the people that are making $40,000 or $50,000 on Wall Street. The average salary in Wall Street, according to the New York Comptroller's Office, is $366,000. The $40,000 people that Bloomberg's talking about, they're handing out the towels in the lavatory for the money junkies.